Hey guys, welcome back to another video, or welcome to the channel if you're new. If you are, take one moment, hit the subscribe button for me down there. For this video, we are going to be doing whatever. Anyway, we're going to be doing a kind of face paint, body paint thing from one of the masks that's in Code Vein. This one isn't actually one of the ones that you like equip. It's from one of the blood veils that's actually acquirable. Obviously, it's in the game. If you've played the game, you've probably seen which one it is. I believe it is off of the Ivy one, which is like the multiple arm one. It's been a minute since I've actually played the game, but I've been meaning to do this paint for a while, so I'm really excited to do it. If you are interested in kind of watching how I do this, we are going to do another little voiceover speed paint so you can actually see how I drew all of this in. But stay tuned and let's dive in. Alright guys, so I did opt to start out trying to line this with the gray paint. However, I quickly realized that it wasn't going to happen. You weren't going to be able to see what the heck I was doing, so I did line it with the black. So I really wanted to start out by doing around the eye, because that's basically always where I start out with doing any kind of sketch. However, you can see I kind of hesitate here because when I go to put it over my eyebrow, it just doesn't work. The shape's not right. So I did glue down my eyebrow, and while that was drying, I went to finish the shape around the rest of the face. Now, there's not a whole lot I can really explain when it comes to this. I was drawing it directly from a reference, so I was basically trying to draw what I saw while translating it onto the face. So things aren't exact, they're just kind of molded into a different way so that it actually fit relatively. However, this one side definitely got a little complicated, to say the least. You can see I kind of went in and sketched in some darker areas, had to fix it a lot, which was why I decided instead of using my usual eyebrow pencil, I was just going to use the water-based paint because it just wiped off and let me fix things as I was drawing it. So I did go in and start drawing the teeth, making some little lines so I could make sure that they were lined up properly, and giving myself the base so that I knew exactly where things were going to go. And I was kind of all over the place when I was sketching this, so sorry in advance. There's not really any kind of method to how I do my sketches. I typically will pick a spot on a picture and start out there, and then I base everything off the kind of relative location of things so that I can make sure they're spaced properly and they look proportionate. There's only a couple kind of key features for this one, mainly the shape of the nose. It's very, very prominent, so make sure if you are going to try this that you get that shape done. Now, I personally screwed up this one side so many times, so I did just jump ahead to when I actually had that sketched. Main part of that section, there's 3 pieces of, let's call it sinew, because I don't really know what it would be called. I mean, it's a metal mask, so it's simulating that, whatever. But those go down. There's one bigger piece, and then there's 2 behind it. That portion of the mask is really dark in any picture you see. You might not even see it in some pictures, but it's a detail that is there. So that's kind of the main thing to remember. And aside from that, just make sure that the line for the red tube that comes from the eye socket is lined up, because it does come down that side of the face and does a right angle, and then it goes through the bottom. Aside from that, just remember the little red lights that are on either side of the nose, and those black lines that come down from the eyes that are the defining features of this particular mask. Now, once I was finished with the sketch, I decided that I was going to go in and actually fill in all of these areas with the black, or at least around the mouth specifically, so I wasn't going to confuse all of these areas that needed to be blacked out versus the ones that were just darker areas. For the lips, I did go in with a black lipstick, which would be what I advise if you have it, instead of body paint, just so that obviously you can still drink water, because this look does take a while, unless you are like a really fast artist, which I am not. Now for the eye, I went and did like the main shape with the black body paint, but I did go into my Cremated palette by Jeffree Star and use the shade Hearse to actually darken everything. It's a really dark, solid black that holds that. So I did that, and then I set the paint with it. I did go and darken the waterline with a waterproof eyeliner. For the base of this one, I did go in and actually use a mix of like a brown and gray. When you look at the mask, it is kind of like a bone white, but it's kind of got like a little, I don't know, a dirty feel to it, I suppose. So I kind of wanted to hold true to that, and I didn't want to go completely white with it. So I put the base down, and I did work in a small area. And then for the shading for this, I just added like a little bit of black to that mix, which I just mixed on the back of my hand. When I went in to do the highlights, I just added a little bit of white in there, sometimes adding a little bit of gray. For the shading, I literally was just looking at a picture. There's no real areas per se that I was trying to do. I just wanted to make sure that the top of the mask was highlighted and right above the eye where it was obviously sitting over the black. I just continued around the entire face in the same way. Just make sure, like I said, to work in a small area if you are going to do it, just so that you can shade it properly with the paints so that it doesn't dry on you and you're not having a really hard time. Now, I did personally want to put a lot of emphasis on particularly the fang in general, so I made that a little bit extra white, and then I went into the rest of the face. So everything was done completely the same way. I just kind of jumped ahead for it because, well, let's face it, I was at this for a few hours. So I just went in, filled in all of the rest of the black areas, or at least the areas that I thought were supposed to be black. But I mean, you can tell on my face sometimes it got a little confusing in a few of the areas. Specifically, the one in particular where I said the 3 pieces of sinew, there was something weird going on there that I couldn't figure out. For those pieces, now in the picture, these pieces are very, very like dark. They're almost blended in, but they're just standing out just enough. So I chose to do them in a dark gray, just so, I mean, so you could see them in particular, but so they weren't just like blackout. I wanted to keep the details without it being super obvious. Now, this one spot, I did add gray to it because I realized there was supposed to be a piece there. However, I put the wrong piece in gray, so I had to go in and fix it later. But I added more gray to these other side pieces and extended them kind of up towards the ear as well, just so it did look a little bit more like a mask. To actually get back to the feel of Code Vein, I went in and finally added in these red touches to it. So the lights that are right beside the nose, I made those red, and then obviously those tubes I had mentioned previously, filled all of those in, tried to make sure that they were all lining up properly, making sure to get them through the bottom where they actually like weave through the bottom of the mask. And then I went in and fixed that part that I had mentioned that I messed up and made the wrong part gray. Some of the last few touches there, just had to go in and make the teeth white. Now on those portions there are actually like small purple highlights in the picture that I was looking. I didn't feel like going in with a purple because of the color scheme that I had chose. So if you want to do that, there are purple highlights on the teeth and actually like just above the black areas as well. So I did go back to the Cremated palette and grab the black shadow just so I could go in and put in a few more minor details. I added shadows underneath where the tubes were, around the edges of the mask itself using a small eyeshadow brush, and then I added a few to like some of those pieces of sinew, just anywhere that looked like they would go underneath. And as a final portion to really make everything pop, I went in with a white eyeliner, which is just the NYX one in this case, and added it to the top of the mask, the bridge of the nose. I added it along some of the tubes themselves, and anywhere that really needed to stand out away from everything. I added a few to the bottom of the mask where those tubes were weaving in and out just to make sure they popped out. Had a moment hesitation for this because I thought I was finished, but it wasn't quite there, and I was looking at the reference photo and it needed more. So I decided to go in and actually do the like weaved leather neck guard, whatever we're gonna call it. Decided I was gonna do it, so I just sketched it out, put some black over it, or some dark gray rather, and then kind of started filling in the shapes. Now I did stop before I filled in all of the gaps, put in some like white highlights on it just to make sure I didn't actually lose it, because if you watched the previous video, I'm not good at following those shapes. So stopped it before it even happened, and I just went in, filled in some darker shadows with some black body paint, added a few like gray touches to it as well, and then I finished it up by going into the Cremated palette with the shade Hearse again to add a shadow along the bottom portion, and then just a few more white highlights to make sure everything kind of stuck out and was exactly where I wanted it, basically. And lastly, I just had to do an eye look for it, so I went into my tried and true Jeffree Star palettes and just finished it up. Alright guys, this is gonna finish it up for this video. Finally, it has been like 4 hours, 5 hours, somewhere in that realm. It's been a minute anyway. So obviously I did go back in. I filled in the spot on my neck that you probably saw that I didn't do. I didn't do it. Didn't do it at all. I also dipped into the Jawbreaker palette just for the red. Not that eye. This eye. It's been a long day. Alright. I did dip into the shade, was it cherry? Licorice. Not cherry. So I dipped into the shade Licorice and did this kind of like halo eye just to kind of tie in some more red for the overall look. And yeah. And then I think I went in with a few more like highlights. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I fixed. Oh my god. This. There's a part that I missed. So I did this with the black eyeshadow. It just dabbed the line. You didn't miss much. It took me 2 seconds. It probably wouldn't even show very well. But yeah. This is this look. I'm really happy with how this turned out. It definitely started out a little rough, but that's okay. We got here. This is how it is. Alright. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to leave me a like. Hit the bell if you're interested in getting notified of when I do post new videos. And if you want to see the photos and videos that come from this, make sure to check out my socials that are linked below. Instagram will have the pictures and whatnot that come from it. TikTok is obviously where I do fun little videos. And hopefully I will have time to record a couple of those with this look, because it took too long and I have to get something from it. Right? Right? Let me know in the comments how you guys think I did for this one, or if you play Code Vein. If you do, you should let me know what mask you guys want to see me do next, because I absolutely adore Code Vein and I would be super down to do another mask or something from another game that is, you know, in the realm of possibility without needing like prosthetics or something for me, because I definitely don't have those. Anyway, I'm rambling. I will let you guys go. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!